Welcome back to SNC Tonight. I'm Tim Young, hosting the show tonight. Go follow me at Tim Runs His Mouth. Listen, Republicans want to win elections. The problem is they don't want to do the work. See, it's really easy to get on social media. You can tweet a little bit. You can sit on your phone. You sit at home. You yell at the television. You probably yelled at the television a few times watching me tonight. But what you got to do to win elections is get out on the ground and knock on doors. The one person who has become the expert of that throughout the years and has proven it over and over again is Cliff Maloney Jr. He's the founder of the Pennsylvania Chase. Cliff, thanks for joining us tonight.
Appreciate you having me, Tim.
Listen, people talk all the time, lots of talk. We're going to win these elections. We're going to go do this. They send their strongly worded tweets. I mean, if you're a member of Congress, you send a strongly worded letter. You do absolutely nothing. But that's not what win elections, is it?
No, it's not. And that's why in Pennsylvania, we're going all in here. If you look to previous elections, since 2020, during COVID, they changed all the rules in Pennsylvania. They've done this in a bunch of states. But in Pennsylvania, they now allow for 50 days of mail-in ballots. And so if you look at the numbers, Republicans usually only land at 20% of those mail-in ballots. So when the ballots are first counted, before even election day is thought of, it's 20 to 80%. Democrats are ahead by 60 points. All we're trying to do is we have this program, the Pennsylvania Chase, where we want to take that 20% number for Republicans and bring it up to 33%. So instead of 1 out of every 5 ballots being Republican, just 1 out of every 3. I'm not even saying we have to win. But to do that, we're going to have to pound on 500,000 doors. And our math shows if we do that, and if we chase these ballots correctly and do the work that Democrats always do, we can get to that 33% number. That's what we aim to do with the PA Chase.
50 days of voting. Can I just ask you, just a 50,000-foot question here. How did elections function when we only had 1 day to vote and they counted the votes in 1 day? How did America even survive those 200 years now that it takes 50 days to vote?
Oh, look, I'd love to get back there, right? I think a lot of people, when they see I'm doing this PA Chase, they assume that I'm super pro mail-in ballot. No, I'm super pro reality, right? I'm super pro winning under the rules and using the hands that you've been dealt to actually try to come away with a victory. And Republicans have turned a blind eye. Look, Democrats paid thousands of people full time to chase ballots exclusively just in 2023. I'm not talking 2022. I'm talking during the off year. They understood this. And Republicans paid zero. Zero people were focused full time on chasing ballots. And so I'm not relying on the national party. I'm not relying on the state party. Okay, we're going to do this through Citizens Alliance. You can go to pachase.com, check out what we're doing, sponsor a ballot chaser, but we're not going to wait around anymore. To knock on 500,000 across those 50 days, it's a pain in the rear end, Tim. People act like, oh, it must be nice. This is why Republican establishment doesn't do it, because it's a pain trying to get people when they're slamming their doors on you. But Democrats push through the excuses. Republicans make excuses. That's the difference, and that's what we're going to change with the PA Chase.
But here's the thing, Cliff. Republicans may not knock doors, but Ronna Romney McDaniel, she's got a podcast. And I hear that she makes her producer's making bank on that show, by the way. It's just a source says that they're doing pretty well. Why has the National Party just not done this at all?
Because it's hard. And I don't mean that to kind of make light of it or to joke about the situation. It's very difficult to hire somebody. Look, it's a seasonal worker. You're not hiring somebody who's doing this, full time for a 4 to 5 year contract. You got to be able to find somebody, recruit somebody, train somebody, and have them on the ground, effectively knocking doors for just 50 days. This is going to take over 100, maybe even 200 individuals. And here's the best part. It's not rainbows and unicorns. You're going to have to fire people. People are going to quit. But once again, Republicans would rather spend hundreds of millions of dollars on television ads to phone it in rather than doing this one component that has robbed us of elections since 2020 and just ignores it. We're not ignoring it anymore. We're going to do the hard work that it takes to win.
So, and you're not just doing this at random. Like, you have a very well-known history. You've been doing this for years. You've actually flipped some seats in different states with your door-knocking campaigns, right?
Yeah, and look, I hate to say it like this. This is a reaction. right? I've done state legislative races. I've knocked over 6 million doors with our teams. We've won over 300 state legislative races. That's always been my focus, right? I've always tried to build a bench of the Rand Paul type liberty Republicans at the state level. And I'm going to continue to do that. But this is a reaction to the failure of the national and the state GOPs, because when we get through a primary and we go into a general election, Tim, you have seats that were never competitive before that Democrats are now able to play into. So the PA chase, is it going to help Donald Trump and the Senate candidate, likely Dave McCormick, at the top of the ticket for the GOP? Absolutely. But are we focused in districts where we have liberty candidates? Absolutely. We're not going to be doing this for rhinos. We're going to help the top of the ticket, and then we're going to focus on liberty candidates. But this is me reacting and taking my door knocking teams to where we're needed most. And right now, that's the swing state of Pennsylvania.
You know, a lot of people seem to forget that there are statewide races that are happening and local races that are happening, not just these national races that people pay attention to. And we've lost a lot because of that, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a big problem that, once again, Democrats have beat us at. They understand building a bench. Yeah. I mean, you might say, oh, well, the bench at the top is horrible. I mean, look at Joe Biden. We could make jokes all day. But where they're not failing and where they haven't failed for the last 40 years is understanding you've got to start local, right? This has been my pitch to any ideologue within the Republican Party. If you actually want to cut government, if you actually believe in liberty and you believe in freedom, you need to spend as much time as possible focusing on local and state races. Your state rep or your state senator, they're going to be able to protect or strip your liberty much more than these goons at the federal level. Sure, they're going to spend like drunken sailors. But the battle for the future of America, the battle for the heart and soul of this country, it's at the state level. So I would encourage everybody, go to pachase.com. Pennsylvania is going to be a major swing state. It is the focus, and we've got to win the state to make it competitive.
I wish there were more people like you, Cliff. I gotta tell you, I don't understand why more people, even on the national level, that the RNC hasn't stolen your ideas. Truly, like you have actually proven that you can knock on doors and flip seats in state races, and now you're going to go with these nationally recognized races. I'm excited to see where this goes. Pennsylvania Chase, again, tell everyone where they can go.
Check me out on Twitter at Cliff Maloney Jr., or you can go to pachase.com right now. Would love to have your support. And Tim, thanks for always being a patriot.